Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're back. Another exciting podcast of the Mythicist Podcast. I'm here with my friend, Gregg Prescott. What's going on, man?
Hey, brother. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, so we had to work out some bugs. I think we're back. I think we're good.
Yep.
Just to let everybody know, we've never talked before. This is organic. This is the first time getting to talk to you, man. So excited to have you on the show. Been hearing about you for years, running kind of in the same circles. We mentioned Kelly in the Raw. You know, that's a, kind of a mutual friend. Seeing some of the content that you've been putting out with IN5D.com and this huge esoteric, metaphysical, spiritual database that you guys have built over the years. And it's kind of like if you're searching terms about spirituality, third eye, meditation, your site comes up. So it definitely is a database with a wealth of knowledge there. And so I've been reading some of the articles for years. So it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Finally get a chance to talk to you, man. Welcome.
Thank you, brother.
So to talk a little bit about the topic, it's kind of hard to pick a topic of like a title for the show before we do it. Like afterwards, you can kind of go back and say, okay, we talked about this, we talked about that. And so we got to kind of get a name for the show that's going to get people or whatever. So I picked the name talking about explaining dimensions, because in 5D, which is your head or your vision, right? It's talking about the fifth dimension, right?
Yes.
And I told you through chat on Facebook that like I definitely understand the different levels, but it gets, second, third, fourth, fifth. Some say it goes to 11th. Some people say it goes to thousands, right? Of these different levels in dimensional planes of existence where beings exist in different vibratory levels, consciousness, that we can go there, that everything that we do, we're affecting those levels as well. And so I believe that would be a good place to start, man, talking about the different dimensions.
Okay. Well, starting out, if you think of the first dimension as just being a straight line, that's it, a line, okay? Real simple. The second dimension, you can look at putting 4 lines together to make a box, okay? But it's just 4 lines together. It has no depth or space. That's where we go into the third dimension, where you have the box, but it has depth, a third-dimensional box, a cube. So that's where we're at right now. The third dimension is basically, the way I see it, is thought, emotion, and effort will bring you manifestation. Okay, so it takes the effort, the extra effort, and we're starting to see that right now. The more you put into your thoughts and intentions, the more you can manifest. But it's the thoughts, the effort, the emotion that it takes to manifest things. Have you watched The Secret?
I have.
Or read the book?
Definitely, yeah.
It's huge. I mean, it's everything. If it wasn't for The Secret, IN5D wouldn't exist.
Okay.
I know that I watched the video one time, and on the video, it said that there was this guy. They showed this guy going out to the mailbox, and he opens up the mailbox, and he pulls out all these bills, and he's shaking his head. He applies the secret, which for those who aren't familiar with, that are listening right now, it's the law of attraction. And so what you put out there to the universe comes back. So what he was doing initially was he's going out to the mailbox and he's thinking, oh my God, there's going to be bills here and everything. Of course, that's what he manifested. So he applies the law of attraction, and he goes out to the mailbox, and all of a sudden, instead of bills, he's getting checks. And I'm shaking my head. I'm thinking, that'll never happen. But as it turned out, it's what happens. It's what's happening with me right now. All my bills are being paid online, and what I receive in the mail are checks. And there was another example that they gave, and this one, anyone who knows me can attest about this. They gave the example of going out to a parking lot and envisioning that your parking spot is available and waiting for you. Yeah. And what I do is I envision that 3 spots are available, and they're always the best spots, because that way I'm getting one of them. And one of the spots I go to is at this little beach here in Florida called Crescent Beach, and it only fits about 25 cars. So I envision the first 3 parking spots being available. And I could go there at perhaps 12 o'clock on a Saturday, and I know that somebody's pulling out as soon as I'm pulling up, and that spot's going to be available for me. I've taken so many pictures of getting that best spot on any particular day. It's mind-boggling. So this is where we're at right now. We're heading into the fourth dimension, where you still have the thought and emotion, but the effort is no longer needed. You're just manifesting. So when I go to this parking lot, I know that those spots are going to be there. The effort is not non-existent. So we're merging right now into the fourth dimension and subsequently into the fifth dimension, where you still have thought and emotion, but manifestation. In the fifth dimension, you just have thought and manifestation. The emotion's gone, so your thoughts equal the manifestation.
Okay.
And then when you go into 6D, it's instant manifestation. And then from 7D on, who knows? Like you said, it could be 12 dimensions, 9 dimensions. 2,120 dimensions.
So,
who knows after that?
So whenever you're speaking about these dimensions, these are levels of consciousness that we can walk on? Is this what you're talking about?
Well, they're dimensions that I consider, perhaps. What you're saying is you can walk on them.
Oh, well, I'm just talking about just in your consciousness, like, okay, I'm vibrating at third dimension right now, and this is where my faith level is. This is where my belief is. Things are coming to me. There's no effort. That's what you're talking about, right? That this is something we can attain.
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely right now. And what I do, as a matter of fact, we just had a conference here in Sarasota, a psychic conference, and I spoke about how to open up your third eye. I have an article on IN5D about that, as well as a YouTube video on the IN5D YouTube channel. Anyone can open up their third eye in a week or so. I give them a maximum a week, and your third eye will be open. But it takes that effort, and what I'm finding is a lot of people they don't have the time.
You have to start with the effort, though.
It's not that they're not necessarily willing to put the effort in. It's just they don't have the time to put the effort in.
Yeah. I found what it seems like, man, is like there's a negative force out there, some type of ill will that wants to make you busy. I don't know if it's the ego and it's manifesting like this is the part of your trial that you have to kind of prove yourself to get to make sure that you want it, to make sure that you want to get out of the slump to get there. But a lot of people, man, that busyness is crazy. I can attest to it in my life of being at these different levels of vibration where synchronicities are happening, angelic contact is happening, just everything's beautiful, and then you fall into a slump where like you manifested all this stuff and then all of a sudden it's gone and you're depressed and like, wow, what happened? Like I'm not there anymore. So it is this battle to stay there, to walk there. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Definitely. What happens is that every second, every minute, you're controlling your own destiny. And what's happening is there's going to be these setbacks, but what universe is trying to tell you is that, okay, time to readjust, time to head in a different direction. Understand what's happened up until that point, and then see what happened and where it's leading you, because you're constantly getting signs that are pointing you in a different direction and where you're supposed to be at all times. So, just keep listening to the signs. Look for signs outside. Say a flock of crows will fly over you, and crows are a very metaphysical spiritual animal, or a flock of hawks or whatever. Look at all the signs that are going on and see where those signs are leading you, because every day you're being pointed to your true divine purpose for being here.
There's a lot of people who look at themselves, and I've been there too, I'm saying from experience, where they look at themselves in the past and they say like, I wish I was as spiritual as I used to be, or I wish I was as close to God as I used to be. And so their memories of their past outweigh their current experiences and hinder them and almost plague them. Like, man, I used to be so happy. I used to be this. I used to be that. And people want to go back there. But I was talking to some brothers today, and it's kind of like, don't try to go back there, because if you was to go back, you would almost neglect everything that you've learned from that point to where you are today. So learn from all of the mistakes and all of the setbacks and the things that got you off course. Learn from that stuff to build a better tomorrow and manifest tomorrow, right? What would you say about that when people just look at their past and like, man, I was spiritual a year ago. I mean, I've done it too, man. I went through this crazy depression. I cut my hair off, man. I had long hair and dreadlocks, and there was those articles about the spirituality linked to the hair, dude. Like, I felt something when that happened, man. I kind of went through a little slump myself. Can you speak on that?
Yeah, definitely. Well, what Dolores Cannon talks about is one of the things that is the easiest thing to do, but we overlook so often, and it's the power of forgiving. Forgive yourself for anything that you've done in the past that may have not been in your own best interest or humanity's best interest. We've all made mistakes. None of us are angels here on this planet right now, but we've all made our mistakes. Learn how to forgive yourself, love yourself, and realize that it's a university, basically, and we're here to learn and grow from it. The Rosicrucians have a saying that your goal in life is not to be happy. Happiness is an emotion. Your goal is to experience as much as you possibly can, and within those experiences, you'll find happiness. So I always thought that was a really interesting way of looking at life. So just get out there and enjoy life. More importantly, too, ground. A lot of people have a hard time finding the time to ground themselves. Living here in Florida, it's quite easy because it's beautiful out all year round. The change of seasons are highly overrated as far as I'm concerned. Give me summer every day of the year, but I can go out there and be barefooted. Yeah. Even if you live in the Northeast or Northwest, or if you're in snow or whatever, find time to get out there and appreciate the nature that's going on. You don't have to be barefooted for that. You can still sun gaze. You can get out there, bundle up if you have to, get out there and appreciate nature, the snow that's falling, and where you're at, because everyone is exactly where they need to be right now. We're all anchoring down the energies, and it's kind of like, if you have like little spots of light all over the planet, cumulatively, we light up the planet. So everyone is anchoring the energy and is exactly where they need to be right now. That might change a week from now, a month from now, a year from now. But right now, you're exactly where you need to be. Keep holding that light.
I believe that, man. I believe that when I start to get frustrated about, circumstances and situations, but like, you know what? I'm right where I want to be. There's a scripture in the Bible that says the steps of a righteous man are ordered by the Lord, right? And I believe that no matter where we go, like if it's good or bad, or we're going through troubled times, man, I believe that there's a lesson in it all, and that we could try to make the best out of it, right? Versus, playing the other side where we could just get discouraged and, disgruntled and hurt and things like that. And we start to relive the hurt, and thought forms come in our mind and get planted and become strongholds and things like that. So really to fight against that stuff and stay vibing at those high levels, man. Like, but what helps keep it consistent? I know you said grounding is a big thing. What are some of the things too, like the spiritual practices such as like meditation and sun gazing, like you said as well?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I have a meditation pyramid over there. I should turn around my computer to show you. My dog is underneath it right now.
He's chilling. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's hanging out there, and he loves my meditation pyramid. He's looking back at me right now. But that's one thing that I find is, it's funny too, because there's a picture on the internet. If you type in pyramid and deer, somebody had a meditation pyramid out in their backyard, and a deer just innately understood the energy of that pyramid, the copper pyramid, went out and laid down, and there's a picture of a deer just laying down in the pyramid. Now I've got this pyramid here. My dog is constantly underneath it. These animals know the energy. They sense the energy. They feel a calmness that's underneath there. So, and I feel it as well when I meditate under it. So it's a wonderful thing to have.
What's it made out of?
Copper.
Copper, yeah.
Yep. And, it cost maybe, I don't know, $150, something like that, but it was worth every penny. That's one of the things I do. I also get out. I'm fortunate. I live 2 miles from the #1 beach in the United States, and I like getting out there. And what I do is a walk of gratitude. And I walk down to the end of the beach, and there's a seawall at the end of the beach. And that's my reminder to give thanks. And the first thing I do is say, I'm sorry if I don't say this enough, please forgive me. It's basically called Ho'oponopono. and it's 4 tenets to it. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. So I go through my posse is what I call them, and that's creator, source, universe, spirit guides, guardian angels, friends and family on both sides of the veil, galactic neighbors and friends, higher self, Mother Earth, and my spirit guide, Tamara, specifically. But I go through it and I express, you know, what I'm thankful for and tell them all that I love them. And I thank them for their unconditional love, safety, protection, guidance. And I promise to listen with open ears, mind, eyes, and heart to their guidance. And every day I'm listening. So I do that. And then on the walk back, what I do, see, it's kind of funny because I work every day. I haven't had a day off since 2009. And I work probably between 10 to 12 plus hours every day. So I have to force myself to go to the beach to ground, or else I'm going to be out of balance. Now, I'm also a Libra. I'm a triple Libra. And a lot of people think that Libras are all about balance. It's the exact opposite. We're constantly seeking balance. So that's why I have to force myself to go to the beach. So on the walk back from the seawall, I do what I call a love bubble meditation. And what that is that I envision this ball of energy around me, and everybody that comes within my energy field is receiving unconditional love and healing. And I ask my posse, you know, creator, source, universe, spirit guides, guardian angels, right down the line, to magnify that effect from my heart and their hearts and expand it out as far as they can throughout the planet, galaxy, universe, and multiverse. Because every thought is energy. And if you're putting that thought and energy out there, it's got to be doing something to help the critical mass and the collective evolution of humanity.
What levels would you be vibing at that? Is that, I mean, can you do that at, you know, second and third, or is that if you're doing that daily, you're probably walking in 5D?
Well, I'm actually doing that probably in third and fourth dimension. Okay. Because the thoughts manifest quicker and quicker. So I'm putting that out there. I'm also doing something too. While I'm on my walk, I'm telling myself that all my codons are open in my DNA. My DNA is activated, and that I can do anything. So I'm working on, we only have 20 of the 64 codons in our DNA turned on. So there's 44 codons that are turned off. If somebody can figure out how to turn on all the codons in their DNA, they can do anything. You can manifest out of thin air. You can teleport, telekinesis. Every ability known to mankind and then some would be available to that person that can figure out how to turn on all their codons in their DNA. I do have some videos and a couple articles on IN5D.com that show what I'm doing to do that. There's a number of things I've been doing. I've been working on it for probably 2 or 3 years, and I'm seeing some results, but I'm not seeing, you know, I can't make myself invisible. I can't regress in years yet, even though, you know, I turned 60 in a few years, so it's kind of hanging in there.
You look great, man.
Thanks.
So definitely with doing that, there have been people reportedly who have been able to do that, reportedly, especially like if we're talking about some of the masters, as far as like Jesus and Baba G, you know, Krishna, these type of people, they've definitely tapped into that, correct?
Well, I guess so. You know, that I can't prove that.
Mm-hmm. Well, if they're walking in, you know what I'm saying, miracles and manifestation like that, I mean, wouldn't that be kind of what you're talking about?
I guess proverbially, yeah,
yeah.
It would be. But you know, I'm not a Christian, and I have my questions about the Jesus story. But my parents are Christians. I know lots of Christians.
I'm just using it as an example. We can name all the masters, and I don't know them all. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So yeah, that, you know, the angels, the masters, whoever. Like these, I'm just speaking about people who existed, who are walking in manifestation and miracles on the earth, right?
I'm sure that that's happened throughout the years, and you know, now is the time, so they say, that for these masters to come back. But ultimately, I think, like the Hopi said, we are the ones we've been waiting for. Why can't we do that? Mm-hmm. I think it's the time where we can figure out how to turn on our DNA. As a matter of fact, there's a really interesting thing that happened this past week. apparently there's this huge wave of gamma rays that are coming and that are expected to arrive on December 26th. According to James Gilliland, he said that gamma rays are seventh dimensional energies that will help transform human consciousness. Now, just in the past couple days or so, there's this, it was posted by BP Earthwatch and Dabu7 on YouTube about this other, a different wave of energy. A Dutch Sense also has a video on it. This wave of energy is covering the whole planet, and Dutch Sense said that he's never seen anything like this before. And you can see this literal wave of energy that's coming over the planet. And it really coincides with this dream I had about these three tidal waves of that are coming to the planet, but it's really tidal waves of energy. It's not water, which is my interpretation. Yeah. So, a lot of people are talking about these waves of energy, and I've seen the future, and it's amazing, and it does involve these waves that are coming in.
Something good versus something bad, right? They always give you the dates when all the bad stuff's going to happen every year, but nothing happens, So it's awesome that now we have something good to look forward to. That's always exciting.
Yes.
Because what it does, like, even in the placebo effect, right? Even if there was nothing significant about that date, even if nothing happened, the expectation for you to kind of put yourself in expecting something to happen and go and kind of preparing, getting yourself ready to receive. Okay, let me make sure that I'm dealing with my past junk. Everything's good. I've forgiven my enemies. I'm walking in love, all of these things. So I think that this expectation for something like that to happen will just, by placebo alone, help people. I mean, I believe that's how, faith works and belief works. If we're praying for somebody or believing for somebody to be healed of an ailment, it's, even though the symptoms are there, they seem to be sick, that we believe and we see the things that are not as though they were, and that's how we manifest it, through thought, through prayer, through expectation. There's so much power in expectation. I mean, even I think even with your conferences and stuff, right? People are coming expecting an impartation. They want to be around you, this type of things, and like, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. Once you're hanging around somebody, you begin to talk like them, you begin to act like them, you pick up on their mannerisms, and this stuff is contagious, man. It
is. It really is. I highly suggest that, be yourself no matter what, because what's going to happen is you're going to weed out those who don't accept you for being who you are. Now, a lot of people know this already, but before I was a webmaster, I was a child and family therapist. I have a patent pending that I wrote that's designed to help families who are at risk of dissolution, children going through the reunification process, and for parents in need of parenting classes. And I was doing this full time on my own. I had my own business, and I wrote a program that was accepted by the area's largest human services facility.
Oh, wow.
I was doing that for the longest time. But I started getting into spirituality when I started learning about the Mayan calendar, and this was back in 2007. And what a lot of people, and when I first read about the Mayan calendar, of course, I saw the doomsday websites, and I thought, oh my God, my daughter's only going to be 17 in 2012 or whatever the number worked out to be, and it's the end of the world and all. But the more I researched that, the more I realized it's not the end of the world. So what I did was I put all these videos together in a compilation and called it 2012 the online movie, which ended up with 13 million views on it. But it showed that the Mayan calendar was not the end of the world, and it's really the awakening of the world as we know it. So that was like one of the crucial points for many people in this awakening right now. And what you'll hear is from other people, the skeptics, saying, oh, well, nothing happened in 2012. Really? Look at all the people that woke up and that began their spiritual journey.
Totally.
And look where they are now, how far they've expanded that. And what you're seeing and feeling right now is totally different than what you felt 10 years ago. It's growing, and you can feel it. You can sense it.
Yeah, the movie 2012 Enigma by David Wilcock was one of the first ones I got into, and that thing blew my head off early on, man.
Yeah.
I had reached like a plateau, and it was like, okay, what's next, and then found that, and that mixed with having different angelic encounters and seeing UFOs and stargazing for hours and hours and hours, and I couldn't wait for the sun to go down daily because I was ready to go see UFOs. And then I got to the point where I was just asking to see them during the day, right? I was like, okay, I see them at night. It could be a satellite, it could be a plane, it could be all these other things. Let me see them during the day. Will you please? And I would send the thought out there. I would say it, and then they would start communicating telepathically, right?
Oh yeah.
Whole nother level.
How old were you when you saw your first UFO?
This was about 2012 now, to where it was like it wasn't one and then they left. Like, it was intense. Like, I was going out every night for hours. So I was I was probably 28, about 28, 29, yeah. 28.
Have you ever had this happen to you, where you see a UFO and you're with someone and you point at it and they can't see it? Only you can see it.
I haven't had that happen, but I have had it happen where they wanted me to see it, and as soon as I seen it, they disappeared. Like, it was there, I seen it, the thought hit my mind, oh, there's a UFO, he's saying hello, it's gone. During the day.
Do you have any night vision goggles?
I seen you had some.
Yes.
I mean, that right there, I mean, early on, I was watching so many videos, and there's some interesting stuff that people are recording.
These are they're called Yukon Ranger night vision goggles, and you can buy these for like $350 or so, and they're okay. But what I have, it's the ATN Generation 3 night vision goggles.
That's the ones everybody says good, yeah.
It's what you want, and the difference is day and night.
Really?
It's worth, but unfortunately they cost a lot of money. I think I paid like $2,500 for these, and just saved up because I knew this is what I wanted.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what? I'll tell you what. It's a lot better than watching anything on TV. Going outside with your night vision goggles and your laser pen, telling them to fire up. One time, and it was about maybe 3-4 months ago.
Yeah.
I'm facing the Gulf of Mexico out back in my backyard. I'm facing in that direction. And I look up and I see this huge cigar-shaped mothership coming off the coast, heading towards the mainland. And as soon as I locked in on them with my night vision goggles, they disappeared. So this is the lesson I learned. How do I record them? Well, I bought this little contraption that you can hook up your cell phone to, and it works with any cell phone. But what you do is you put the where you look into right through here, and it records your UFO.
Records it on the phone.
Yeah.
I was trying to run cords, dude, to a computer.
Yep. Oh yeah, it's crazy. So you can actually record them. There's a new moon. The best night to look for UFOs, I think, is during a new moon, because you don't have the light pollution from any moon.
Exactly. I found that out organically too, man.
Yes. On the 21st, on the winter solstice, we have a quarter moon, a waning quarter moon. But by the 29th, we're going to have a new moon, and it's going to be a great night for looking for UFOs.
I can't, I could feel it now, just remembering the expectation when all that stuff was new, because that changes everything.
Yeah.
That changes everything. Everything. When you're having, disclosures happening through us. Everybody talks about, disclosure. We want the government to come forth. I don't know if it's going to happen, but it's happening through us. Like, you can go out and you can go out and make contact and not fear anything, and have a beautiful encounter of our star brothers, the ones we call the angels in the holy text. Like, they're out there watching over us, and they travel back and forth, man. And when you encounter that, it changes everything. It really does.
I was 18 years old or so, and at the time, I'm kind of dating myself right now, but it was legal to drink at 18, and I was living in New York, and we were on top of one of the Catskill Mountains there, and we're having a keg party. We had the keg. We were waiting for the tap, so none of us were drinking at the time. We're just standing around the keg waiting for the tap, and up over an adjacent mountain comes 3 UFOs in formation. They stop, they hover, and then they take off. And there was like 7 or 8 of us that saw it, and that was my first true UFO sighting. And it just left such a lasting impression on me that, it's always been with me. And it's something that I want to keep pursuing further and further.
Yeah.
I believe that at night, many of us go on ships. I've had numerous dreams of being on ships at night, and I kind of question if that's reality or simply a dream.
Yeah. Speaking of the night vision goggles and all that, some of the first, people's work that I looked into, I found Ed Grimsley. Are you familiar with his work?
Yeah, he was at one of my conferences.
I was going to ask you, did you get a chance to meet him?
Yes, in Los Angeles.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, he was an awesome guy, man. I was trying to contact everybody when this stuff was happening, man. I was like, I need somebody to talk to. I'm in the Bible Belt. I'm in Alabama. I couldn't talk to anybody around here, man. I had to go online. I had to find people who were posting videos about this stuff, and I talked to James Gilliland. I talked to Nate, who was his secretary at the time. Ed Grimsley. Talked to Ed on the phone, man. And interesting times, man. So that's why I love doing this podcast and having these discussions for people like myself who are having encounters and who are having, who are just studying and they have questions, man, and nobody's answering them and stuff. So we just put ourselves out there to say, hey, this is our story. If you have questions, you can ask them. We just put ourselves out there. And with that being said, I want to let everybody know that we are going to open up the phone lines. If you guys want to call in and you have a question or a comment or a UFO story, or you want to ask Gregg a question, go ahead and do that. The number is on the bottom of the screen scrolling across, and it's also in the description on the website and the YouTube video. Give us a call and we will try to take it here close to the end of the hour. So, talking about that, there was a lot of fear for me because I did see stuff when I was a kid, right? And so I would see UFOs or I would see stuff in the sky. I don't know if it was UFO. It was UFO to me, but it would be backed by fire in the sky, right? As a kid, watching fire in the sky at like 7 years old, like that scared the hell out of me, right? And that was like, I was big into monster movies, but those did something to me because it was this thought that they could be real. Like people are getting abducted and they're not bringing them back. And like, that was like my biggest fear. So when I started having encounters and seeing stuff, there was this awe and wonder in me, but there was this also, be careful, dude. They can come get you. You know what I'm saying? And, did you encounter anything like that? Any of the scary stuff at all? Or just even your own fear, getting over some of that stigma?
After having a stage 3 cancer in 2007 and facing death, nothing scares me anymore. There's nothing to fear. So I know that one time I was doing, and I have an article on IN5D. I was doing this third eye mirror meditation where you sit in front of a mirror, you have a candle burning in front of you, the lights are off, and you're focusing on your third eye. And what happens is you just get into that meditative state where your brain is basically in the alpha state. And what's going to happen is you're going to see yourself change into different forms. You'll see yourself as a woman, a man, old, young. One time I saw this creature. That's the only way I can describe it. It had big red eyes, fang-like teeth that was looking back at me. And I just looked it straight in the eye and said, "You're not welcome here. Go back to where you came from. Go back to the light." And I regathered myself and went back to meditating. But, during that one time, I was doing that same third eye mirror meditation, and this huge orange orb was just hanging out over my shoulder. And it was just so awesome to see and observe. But as for, I find that when I was younger, and I was also, at that time watching horror flicks and stuff because my friends were. Yeah. Man, I don't watch that crap anymore because it just lowers my vibration. It does. And I can't. It's like watching the news. It makes me feel like crap. Yeah. So
because your reality is totally different than what they're showing on the news. They're like trying to create your reality when your reality is totally against that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And we create it, man. Like I don't know people who they show on the news, right? I don't hang with those people. My reality is different. I encourage, love and unity, and it's always destruction and death and chaos, and then they show up with the answer. So it's the chaos out of order. They create the chaos, and then they create the order. So we come to our rulers who are giving us, food and shelter and bread and water, It's just weird dichotomy that they have set up, man. That's one of the other negative forces that we have to rise against. Like you said, television, outside influences. That stuff is powerful, man. The different music that we listen to. Like, I'm a fan of, like, early 90s music, right? Anything 90s. And so I was into early gangster rap and stuff. And that stuff messes with you. You could try to listen to it now, but it'll mess with you, man. People cursing and talking about killing people and robbing people. Like, that's the stuff I was a kid. I remember walking around the house reciting those lyrics. I didn't know what I was saying, but I was talking about cooking dope, cooking crack, because I was just repeating a song. And my brother's like, shut up, man. You know what I'm saying? Mama's going to hear that and she's going to take our CDs away. And I'm walking around the house at like 8 years old talking about cooking dope. I have no idea the meaning of it, you know?
I found that I wrote an article on music and spirituality, and I know exactly where you're coming from, because I'm like the generation before you. I grew up in the 80s, and I played lead and rhythm guitar in several hard rock bands.
Yeah.
And, you know, some of my favorite songs don't have the most positive titles. Like, one song is a Van Halen song, Ain't Talking About Love. It's the total antithesis of everything I believe in. Another one is by Night Ranger, Don't Tell Me You Love Me. You know, I love that song, but I think about, how does that make me feel? It's the lyrics in both of those songs aren't going out and telling anyone to kill anyone. It's, you know, what I sense and what I feel when I hear the lyrics. I'm not really listening to the lyrics. I'm hearing the flow of the melody of the lyrics, and I'm listening more to the guitar as a guitarist myself. I'm listening to the rhythm, to the lead, thinking about the progressions that they're doing. And to me, it's more of a symphony of different things that are added together, and what you get as the end result is something that makes me feel good, regardless of what the lyrics say. So, and that's my message to anyone that's listening. You know, if there's music that makes you feel good, listen to it. It doesn't matter, you know, what the lyrics particularly say, as long as you're not acting out on them or believe in them. But if it makes you feel good overall, go for it.
That's the funny thing about perception and how this stuff works, is that we can listen to the same song or the same teaching and walk away with something totally different. I could walk away feeling great, feeling good, getting some type of different revelation from it, and somebody else takes something different away. So if you're honest with yourself and you really do get those feelings, I'm with you on that. But I think I'm with you too. It's like, that's something where we have to be vibrating at a higher level to be like, you know, these things shall not harm me, even though there's chaos around me. Like, I can hold on to the good and you know, take good from every situation. That says a lot if you're honest. Now, I'm not saying just to say, well, I listen to it, it doesn't bother me, and, like, you know what I'm saying? But if it honestly doesn't bother you and you are there, that's a good place to be.
The thing you have to also be cognizant about is words are spells. That's why it's called spelling. You spell a word, and these words do create spells. So it's the energy that you're putting into the words that I think overrides the spell that's being cast. So if you're listening to one of these songs that, you know, is deemed to be negative, but you're not putting that negative energy into it, it's all right. Don't worry about it. You know, I know a lot of people might say it's Pollyanna, or I'm taking a new age look at that. I think that's bullshit. It's how you feel ultimately that overrides everything. And if it makes you feel good,
if it's bringing good feelings, man, you know, whatever you can do in this life to bring good feelings, I'm for it, man. Whatever makes you happy, man, and helps you get through the day, dude, I am for it. If it's not dragging you down, but be honest with yourself. I could be honest with myself, you know what I'm saying? Everybody. But let's see. I wanted to ask you too, because we vaguely mentioned it when we're talking about the different elemental spirits, maybe the different forces that are around us, angelic beings, higher consciousness, lower vibrational beings. Like, there's a lot of places we can go with that. I mean, I definitely want to know your experiences with them. But how do we, like, contact, you know, those entities? How do we find our spirit guides or our spirit teachers, you know?
Well, my spirit guide came to me in a dream, and I've told this story. I don't know if you've heard it yet, or some of your listeners probably haven't heard it, but I'm originally from upstate New York in the Catskill Mountains, And I always had this affinity to palm trees and the ocean and didn't really know why. So about 11, 12, 13 years ago, I ended up moving to Florida, and it was shortly afterwards that I had this dream where I met my spirit guide. And it's this North American-looking Indian woman, long, black, straight, flowing hair, white gown. And she walks up to me and she goes, "I'm your spirit guide. My name is Tamara." And so here I am. I can ask my spirit guide anything in the world. So what do? I repeat her name over and over and over again. Tamara, 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 Tamara. So many times that I woke myself up out of my dream. So here it is, like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I know that every name has a meaning. So I looked up Tamara, and Tamara means palm tree. So it made perfect sense why I had that affinity to palm trees in the ocean. It was because of my spirit guide. But what you can do, and anyone can do this, put it out there. Ask your guides, ask your angels, guardian angels, spirit guides. Contact me, whether it's in a dream, show me a sign that you're here, and just put it out there. And I think that it'll happen when you're ready for it to happen. I think you have to be prepared. And if it doesn't happen immediately, just keep working on your vibration, keep raising your energy levels, and it will happen.
I felt kind of weird because, I mean, that's the approach that I took as well. But I can't lie, I did feel a little bit weird, like I was begging for, I would go out and see the UFOs and I would beg. I would beg, man. I would beg. But, you know, you have not because you asked not. And I asked for it and I got it. More than I could chew at the time, but I got it, man. I stayed out there. I didn't want to move until I knew that something was out there, something for my greater good. And I kind of singled it in, you know, any beings that are out there that are watching over me, that have my greatest good in mind. The angels in the Bible, those who are watching over. If you're out there, at least let me see you travel by. Let me see something. You know, just say hello, and then I would start seeing them. But it's got to be something you want, though, because I mean, I've been out there with people who go out there for 30 minutes and their vibration's different. They're like, this isn't real. I'm ready to go and stuff. And I'm like, man, we just got out here. Like, we're going to be here all night. Like, if you want this to happen. And then again, I've been out there all night and we've never seen anything with people. And then go out there with a couple people and see 12 ships back to back and within an hour. You know, you never can tell, but,
it's kind of like when I was young and I would go fishing with my sister's boyfriend, and we'd be fishing all night, and we'd be like, yeah, you think it's time to go? Nah, the fish are coming around. They're going to be biting, and you wait and wait and wait. Yeah. Even though you haven't had a bite in like 3 hours.
Yeah.
You just keep waiting and believing, and you know, I can sense that with UFOs. There's some nights, I mean, generally speaking, you can't go 10 minutes without seeing a UFO with night vision goggles.
Yeah.
Some nights you don't see any. Other nights you see, 10 and 15 minutes. You know, it all depends. But generally, the 10-minute barrier.
Yeah. I don't have the night vision, but I tried second best. I went out there with regular binoculars. I just took my binoculars out there.
Sure.
You can see so many more stars even with regular binoculars. And I would look out there and I would see ships that I couldn't see without them. Just regular binoculars. So if anybody has that, you can't afford, the night vision Gen 3, try it out and see. On a night that's close to the new moon, where there's not a lot of light out there, away from the city. You got to go away from the city, to see all this stuff. But talking about entities and stuff more, I love talking about this stuff, man. With nature spirits and stuff, fairies, undines, pixies, salamanders. Have you had any encounters with those while meditating in the woods and things like that?
No, I haven't.
Nothing.
But I have a friend of mine that she says she flies with the fairies, and she's very into the elementals.
Yeah.
And I know several people that are like that. I look at people though sometimes, and you'll see certain people that you'll say, you know what, that person's a pixie, or that one's in the gnome family, or you look at like the pointed ears.
Oh, yeah, man. There was a guy today. It's funny you say that. There was a guy today at work. He's real stubby, stout. He's large. He's got a beard. He's growing out. And he's like, okay, I've seen you before, man. You know?
Yeah, yeah, you can just kind of look at a person.
Yeah.
Now I have this book on astrology and how you can look at people and kind of tell what their sign is. And here's a great example. I'm not sure if you're familiar with James Hetfield from Metallica at all.
Just heard an amazing interview with him with Joe Rogan yesterday. Just came out. Listen to it.
I need to check that out.
Just came out. But yeah, go ahead.
But back in the day, he had this, the long hair, and he had a beard and a mustache.
Handlebar, yeah.
And he looked like the Cowardly Lion.
Yeah, definitely.
So out of all the astrology signs, what sign do you think he was or is?
Yeah, Leo, right? Is he?
Exactly.
Wow.
He's a Leo.
Huh.
And there's certain features that you'll find on certain signs that tells you just by looking at a person what sign they are.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. I could see that though. I'm gonna try that out and see if it works. Some of them it may be hard, but definitely the lion or the bull, the ram, these would be a lot easier.
Yeah, a sec. The book's right here.
Okay. Like I said, everybody, if you guys have questions, you want to get in on the conversation, this is your chance. We want to make this interactive. Give us a call. I'll tell you the number is 724-444-7444. When you call in, put in the ID number, which is 78643, push pound, and then your ID number will be 1, and it'll put you in queue, and we will take your questions.
Okay, this is the book. It's called Personalities of the Zodiac, and you have to go to the guy's website. It's William Strieber to order it, but it's fascinating, and it really
Hulk
shows
Hogan's
you.
on there.
Yeah, there's a lot of personality. Here's another one that he wrote, Dance of the Zodiac.
Mm-hmm.
I love my books. You can learn so much outside of listening to a video, which everyone wants to do. They want to take the easy way out, and I do that a lot myself too, because when I'm working, I'm multitasking, and I'm always listening to some kind of metaphysical interview or show.
Yeah.
At night, I fall asleep to listen to stuff like that, and
strange stuff happens when you do that, man.
Oh yeah, it's much better than falling asleep watching TV.
Yeah. I've definitely fell asleep at night with earbuds in my ears, listening to Manly P. Hall. Just going to sleep listening to it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Manly P. Hall. There's so many great lectures that he's had.
Wow. He's just a whole wealth of knowledge, man. I'm starting to collect some of the older books of his, and I just got one in today from Blavatsky. Now, I'm not real big on her work. I know who she is. I've never read any of her books, but I did get her book, The Key of Theosophy, and it was written in this version came out in 1889. So it's like, I posted a picture on Facebook. It's like holding a relic, this old piece of antiquity, man. I just like, there's something about those older books, and I think that reading these type of materials, not just listening to it, but taking the time to get quiet and just read does something too. So I recently started reading again, where I would listen to a download or listen to an audio lecture. I'm like, you know what? Let me read. Let me slow down at least for a few minutes before I go to bed and open a book and just calm myself, instead of, because I'll go 90-0, hit the bed. Mm-hmm. That's what I do. And I'm like, you know what? I got to slow down. I got to get back to those days, man.
Yeah. I just received the Anastasia Cedar series, I think it's called. It's a series of 9 books that I just received it today, so I'm looking forward to reading that. I just finished a book by Tracy Dameron. Okay. It's Filled with Feathers, which was wonderful. Highly recommend that book as well. But I've got a ton of books that are in my bookcase that I just thoroughly love. I really love reading the Dolores Cannon Convoluted Universe series. I love all the stuff. Like she said, it'll bend your mind like a pretzel and makes you think outside the box. Yeah. And anything that gets you to go outside the box, I'm all for, because that's where all the fun's at, outside the box. Definitely,
because it's real, man, and it's real. And I think this kind of ties in with the music a little bit, and the movies, like the stuff we take in, it shapes our reality. Like listening to music that talks about this kind of stuff, like at the time I was waking up, I was introduced to different hip hop groups that talked about UFO encounter, that broke down Manly P. Hall lectures and put it in their music. And I would listen to this. I was listening to it in music. I was reading it. I was watching documentaries. The more and more that I listened to this stuff and was around it, I found this stuff manifesting in my life, and it was beautiful, right? So I think there is a big part about that, of like what we let in, or like what we want. It's kind of an intention as well. Like, I'm going to get as much of this as I can, and I want more. You know what I'm saying? And I think that they can see that, and they sense that, and they know. And I think, the higher beings will show up for you because they know your intention, right? They can tell.
That's just like the law of attraction, the secret. What you're putting out there is coming back.
Exactly.
You're putting that intention,
Yeah.
and it's coming right back
Exactly.
to you. And it works the same with love and gratitude. That's why I do that walk of gratitude. You put that out there. You don't do it, though, to expect accolades or a pat on the shoulder or anything like that, but it just comes back to you. The more good you do, the more it'll come back at you. And sometimes it might take a little while for some people, but it shows you the law of attraction and how you can manifest instantly right now. It's getting easier and easier to manifest.
That's encouraging.
As we merge into the fourth dimension and prepare ourselves for the fifth dimension. So what we're seeing right now is a lot of manifestation that's coming up on the verge of fourth dimensional manifestation and beyond. So it's really exciting.
It's so fast too, because like, man, I remember going up on this little retreat with a couple of guys and trying psilocybin for the first time and putting that to a we tried psilocybin in a float tank, and it was my first time doing it. And we spent the night at the float tank shop, man. My buddy of mine owns one, and did that. And we went and seen a healer the same day, and I had these intense feelings of wanting to be a healer, but it seems so far away. It's like, man, you can never be that. And it's like, no, I want it. And then like Source was dealing with me and said, no, you're not going to be, you already are. And just showing me throughout my life of like my intention and the things that I do and the intention that I put in my music. Like, you're not going to be a healer. You already are. You're just going to manifest what's already within you. Don't look at it like it's something outside of yourself that you want. Can I please be a healer? No, it's already within you. Those desires are there for a reason. That strong urge, man. And on that psilocybin journey, it definitely brought it out. And within, man, a couple months, like, it was something that I really wanted to happen, and I couldn't see it happening. I'm not well spoken. I didn't know if people wanted, if I was to do guided meditations, I would listen to my voice, these different doubts that would come in, right? That kind of distract you. But I wanted it, man. And I was speaking it, and I was telling people and stuff. And then I started doing sessions and started doing open sessions where people were coming in and people were just dropping the tears, and people are feeling like God. They're encountering God while we're talking, having these sessions and stuff, man. And it's like blowing me away that, like, man. So it got to a point where I have to check myself before I would do it. I was like, what are you doing? Like, because 2 months ago, there was no way that this was going to happen. And then it manifested. Like, doing sessions with people, it was filling up, and I was like, oh my God. And I jumped into it really quick. And there's power in that, man. That the whole, so that's why, like, knowing the power there is there for good, but it's polarities as well. It works for evil too. I think that's why I'm so big on, like, being careful, like what type of stuff we're entertaining and stuff too, because the mind is powerful. The thoughts, the words. So watch how we use them, man. We use them wisely, But I hope that encourages somebody, man, that you can manifest it. You can make it happen. Like, your dreams and desires, like, there's so many layers of healing to it too, man. People feel unworthy. They feel like they've never had nothing, and they always have to serve, you know what I'm saying? And they can never be exalted, or they would never be trusted with money. Different things that we have. Even me, I had to get over a lot of stuff because, thinking that I was supposed to walk, the lowly road and be a poor righteous teacher, and the righteous aren't supposed to have this type of money and income. I had to get over those ungodly beliefs, man, and kind of kick that stuff to the curb and manifest it. And it's it's powerful, man. So I appreciate you coming on talking about this stuff too. And having you on encourages me again, man, to go deeper on the places that I see in the future, to try to manifest it and do the work to get it. It is a lot of work, you know?
It is. But you know what? I think that what you're saying right here is spot on, that you were probably a healer in a past life, and that you can draw on that because ultimately time doesn't exist. You know, we're locked into Saturn, Father Time, Chronos, as ironically Saturnalia right now, which is a week long of debauchery and whatever, celebrated by the pagans years ago. But this time of the year right now, that time doesn't exist. And if you were to go back, as a matter of fact, on In5D, if you look it up on the upper right-hand corner, there's a search box, and there's a free past life regression MP3. And what you do is you listen to it as you're about to fall asleep, and it triggers a past life. So it wouldn't surprise me that if in a past life you were some kind of medical healer, maybe a shaman or something like that, something with medicine, it wouldn't surprise me at all if you were to check that out. So give it a shot. Let me know.
Is that completely random, or is it does it work through your bloodline and stuff like that, your ancestry?
Well, for me, I only did it once, and it was a fascinating past life that I had. I was a Mayan elder, and it seemed to be I think it was in the area of maybe Belize or so, but it was during the Spanish Inquisition. And as the Christians were parading through my village, they threatened to kill me if I didn't convert to Christianity, and I lied, and I said I would. But I lied to them because I wanted to pass on the indigenous knowledge to my children and grandchildren. So that's probably what led me to questioning a lot about Christianity as well. And right now, my belief is that all religious texts should be 4 words: love everyone, respect everything. That's all you really need to know. All that it boils down to.
Yeah.
Love.
I mean, I think I agree with you, man, because there's so many different interpretations, and everybody's right in their own mind. That's the whole perception thing that I'm big on, is the perception of, like, I've been around a lot of religious sects, and especially Christianity, but the different denominations who are like gung ho with this and they all have something different to say, man. So it is hard to really find out, if you are a Berean, like if you do want to study the text. And I find it beautiful, man, just all the ancient text. And because I think whenever I read it, man, it makes these encounters that I'm having, like I read about those encounters in the Bible. I read about those encounters in, the Testament of Solomon, about encountering demons and encountering spirits and fighting them. And they talk about UFOs and like all of this ancient text. It really, everybody has different things, man. You know what I'm saying? That draws them and that they're called to. We're coming up on this second hour. We do have a caller in the on the line, and I'm going to bring in the co-host, which is Mr. Leo Henry. I'm going to bring him in, and we'll take this call. And like I said, if you guys have questions or comments, feel free to call in and join us over at mythicist.me for the second hour, and just click on second hour. It'll bring you right to it. Thanks to everybody for supporting us, and we will continue over there, take your calls, questions, comments, and talk some more about these spiritual encounters here in a few minutes. Peace.